9.7.5 Required Notification. The National Response Center helps coordinate emergency response to chemical hazards. It is a resource to the police and firefighters. It maintains a 24-hour toll-free line that's listed below. You or your employer must phone when any of the following occur as a direct result of a hazardous materials incident. A person is killed, an injured person requires hospitalization, estimated property damage exceeds $50,000, the general public is evacuated for more than 1 hour, one or more major transportation arteries or facilities are closed for 1 hour or more. Fire, breakage, spillage, or suspected radioactive contamination occurs. Fire, breakage, spillage, or suspected contamination occur involving shipment of etiologic agents, bacteria or toxins. A situation exists of such a nature, e.g. continuing danger to life, exists at the scene of an incident that, in the judgment of the carrier, it should be reported. So National Response Center 1-800-424-8802. So 1-800-424-8802. Persons telephoning the National Response Center should be ready to give their name and address of the carrier they work for, phone number where they can be reached, date, time, and location of incident, the extent of injuries, if any, classification, name, and quantity of hazardous materials involved, if such information is available, type of incident and nature of hazardous materials involvement, and whether a continuing danger to life exists at the scene. If a reportable quantity of a hazardous substance was involved, the caller should give the name of the shipper and the quantity of the hazardous substance discharged. Be prepared to give your employer the required information as well. Carriers must make detailed written reports within 30 days of an incident. So the National Response Center, Chemtrec, C-H-E-M-T-R-E-C, that's the Chemical Transportation Emergency Center. The Chemical Transportation Emergency Center, Chemtrec, 1-800-424-9300. That's 1-800-424-9300. All right, Chemtrec in Washington also has a 24-hour toll-free line. That's what I read up here, 1-800-424-9300. Chemtrec was created to provide emergency personnel with technical information about the physical properties of hazardous materials. The National Response Center and Chemtrec are in close communication. If you call either one, they will tell the other about the problem when appropriate. Subsections 9.6 and 9.7. Test your knowledge. 1. If your placarded trailer has dual tires, how often should you check the tires? 2. What is a safe haven? 3. How close to the traveled part of the roadway can you park with Division 1.2 or 1.3 materials? 4. How close can you park to a bridge, tunnel, or a building with the same load? 5. What type of fire extinguisher must placarded vehicles carry? You're hauling 100 pounds of Division 4.3 dangerous when wet materials. Do you need to stop before a railroad highway crossing? 7. At a rest area, You discover your hazardous materials shipments slowly leaking from the vehicle. There is no phone around. What should you do? 8. What is the Emergency Response Guide, ERG? These questions may be on your test. If you can't answer them all, reread subsections 9.6 and 9.7. 9.8 Hazardous Materials Glossary. This glossary presents definitions of certain terms used in this section. A complete glossary of terms can be found in the Federal Hazardous Materials Rules, 49 CFR 171.8. You should have an up-to-date copy of these rules for your reference. It says you will not be tested on this glossary, but you should probably know what the words mean in case they come up, right? Section 171.8, Definitions and Abbreviations. Bulk packaging. Packaging other than a vessel or a barge, including a transport vehicle or freight container, in which hazardous materials are loaded with no intermediate form of containment and which has a maximum capacity greater than 450 liters, 119 gallons, as a receptacle for a liquid, a maximum net mass greater than 400 kilograms, 882 pounds, or a maximum capacity greater than 450 liters, 119 gallons, as a receptacle for a solid, or a water capacity greater than 454 kilograms, 1,000 pounds, as a receptacle for a gas as defined in section 173.115. Cargo tank. A bulk packaging which is a tank intended primarily for the carriage of liquids or gases and includes appurtenances, reinforcements, fittings, and closures. For tank, see 49 CFR 178.345 1C, 178.337 1, or 178.338 1 as applicable. Is permanently attached to or forms a part of a motor vehicle, or is not permanently attached to a motor vehicle, but which, by reason of its size, construction, or attachment to a motor vehicle, is loaded or unloaded without being removed from the motor vehicle, and is not fabricated under a specification for cylinders, portable tanks, tank cars, or multi-unit tank car tanks. Carrier. A person engaged in the transportation of passengers or property by land or water as a common, contract, or private carrier or civil aircraft. Consigning. The business or person to whom a shipment is delivered. Division. A subdivision of a hazard class. EPA. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. FMCSR. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. Freight container. A reusable container having a volume of 64 cubic feet or more, designed and constructed to permit being lifted with its contents intact and intended primarily for containment of packages in unit form during transportation. Fuel tank. A tank other than a cargo tank used to transport flammable or combustible liquid or compressed gas for the purpose of supplying fuel for propulsion of the transport vehicle to which it is attached, or for the operation of other equipment on the transport vehicle. Gross weight or gross mass. The weight of a packaging plus the weight of its contents. Hazard class. The category of hazard assigned to a hazardous material under the definitional criteria of Part 173 and the provisions of the Section 172.101 table. A material may meet the defining criteria for more than one hazard class, but is assigned to only one hazard class. Hazardous materials are categorized into 9 major hazard classes and additional categories for consumer commodities and combustible liquids. The classes of hazardous materials are listed in Figure 9.11. Hazard Class Definitions Table B. Class 1 explosives like ammunition, dynamite, or fireworks. Class 2 gases like propane, oxygen, or helium. Class 3 flammable like gasoline, fuel, or acetone. Class 4 flammable solids like matches or fuses. Class 5 oxidizers like ammonium nitrate or hydrogen peroxide. Class 6 poisons like pesticides and arsenic. Class 7 radioactive like uranium or plutonium. Class 8 corrosives like hydrochloric acid or battery acid. Class 9 miscellaneous hazardous materials like formaldehyde or asbestos. No class is for ORMD, other regulated material domestic. That's what ORMD stands for. Things like that are hairspray or charcoal. And another thing that has no class is combustible liquids, fuel oils, and lighter fluid. Yeah, that sounds like it should be flammable, huh? So I don't know why it has none. If you know why this category is like this, comment under the video and let me know, please. Alright, let's see. I probably read this already, but I'll read part of it again. Hazardous materials, a substance or material which has been determined by the Secretary of Transportation to be capable of posing an unreasonable risk to health, safety, and property when transported in commerce, and which has been so designated. The term includes hazardous substances, hazardous waste, marine pollutants, elevated temperature materials, and materials designated as hazardous in the hazardous materials table of Section 172.101, and materials that meet the defining criteria for hazard classes and divisions in Section 173, Subchapter C of this chapter. Hazardous substance, a material including its mixtures and solutions that 1. is listed in Appendix A to Section 172.101, 2. is in a quantity in one package which equals or exceeds the reportable quantity, RQ, listed in Appendix A to Section 172.101, and 3. when in a mixture or solution, 1. for radionuclides, conforms to paragraph 7 of Appendix A to Section 172.101. 3. when in a mixture or solution. 2. for other than radionuclides, is in a concentration by weight which equals or exceeds the concentration corresponding to the RQ of the material as shown in Figure 9.12. Hazardous substance concentrations. RQ and pounds in kilograms in parentheses. So RQ pounds and parentheses kilograms. So I guess 5,000 pounds, 2,270 kilograms. 1,000 pounds, 454 kilograms. 100 pounds, 45.4 kilograms. 10 pounds, 4.54 kilograms, and 1 pound, 0.454 kilograms. Okay, so the hazardous substance concentrations by percent and ppm for the 5,000 pounds is 10%, 100,000 ppm. For 1,000 pounds, 2%, 20,000 ppm. 100 pounds, 0.2%, 2,000 ppm. 10 pounds, 0.02%, 200 ppm. And 1 pound, 0.002, 20 ppm. This definition does not apply to petroleum products that are lubricants or fuels. See 40 CFR 300.6. Okay, hazardous waste. For the purpose of this chapter, means any material that is subject to the hazardous waste manifest requirements of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency specified in 40 CFR Part 262. Intermediate bulk container, IBC, a rigid or flexible portable packaging other than a cylinder or portable tank which is designed for mechanical handling. Standards for IBCs manufactured in the United States are set forth in subparts N and O, Section 178. Limited quantity. The maximum amount of a hazardous material for which there may be specific labeling or packaging exception. Marking. The descriptive name, identification number, instructions, cautions, weight, specification, or UN marks or combinations thereof. Required on outer packaging of hazardous materials. Mixture, a material composed of more than one chemical compound or element. Name of contents, the proper shipping name as specified in Section 172.101. Non-bulk packaging, a packaging which has a maximum capacity of 450 liters, or 119 gallons, or less, as a receptacle for a liquid. A maximum net mass of 400 kilograms, 882 pounds, or less, and a maximum capacity of 450 liters, or 119 gallons, or less, as a receptacle for a solid. Or a water capacity of 454 kilograms, 1,000 pounds, or less as a receptacle for a gas as defined in 49 CFR Section 173.115. NOS not otherwise specified. Outage or ullage, the amount by which a packaging falls short of being liquid full, usually expressed in percent by volume. PHMSA, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, U.S. Department of Transportation, Washington, D.C. 20590. Portable tank, bulk packaging, except a cylinder having a water capacity of 1,000 pounds or less, designed primarily to be loaded onto or on or temporarily attached to a transport vehicle or ship and equipped with skids, mountings, or accessories to facilitate handling of the tank by mechanical means. It does not include a cargo tank, tank car, multi-unit tank, car tank, or trailer carrying 3AX, 3AAX, or 3T cylinders. Proper shipping name, the name of the hazardous material shown in Roman print, not italics, in section 172.101. PSI is pounds per square inch. PSIA is pounds per square inch absolute. Reportable quantity, that's the RQ, the quantity specified in column 2 of the appendix to section 172.101 for any material identified in column 1 of the appendix. RSPA, The Research and Special Programs Administration is now PHMSA. See entry above. Shipper's certification. A statement on a shipping paper signed by the shipper saying he/she prepared the shipment properly according to law. For example, this is to certify that the above named materials are properly classified, described, packaged, marked, and labeled, and are in proper condition for transportation according to the applicable regulations or the Department of Transportation. Or you could say something like, I hereby declare that the contents of this consignment are fully and accurately described above by the proper shipping name and are classified, packaged, marked and labeled, placarded, and are in all respects in proper condition for transport by according to applicable international and national government regulations. And the star is words may be inserted here to indicate mode of transportation, like for transport by rail according to applicable, or for transport by aircraft according to applicable, or rail, aircraft, motor vehicle, or vessel. Shipping paper. A shipping order, bill of lading, manifest, or other shipping document serving a similar purpose and containing the information required by Section 172.202, 172.203, and 172.204. Technical name. A recognized chemical name or microbiological name currently used in scientific and technical handbooks, journals, and texts. Transport vehicle. A cargo carrying vehicle such as an automobile, van, tractor, truck, semi-trailer, tank, car, or rail car used for the transportation of cargo by any mode. Each cargo carrying body, trailer, rail car, etc. is a separate transport vehicle. UN standard packaging. A specification packaging conforming to the standards in the UN recommendations. UN, United Nations. And thank you for listening. That completes the HazMat series.